Hey guys, welcome back to your girl Cooking with Tammy, and tonight we are going to be making a delicious butter, garlic, and herb pork tenderloin. So without further ado, let's get this video started. Just in case you're wondering, this pork loin is about almost 2 pounds, just a little bit under 2 pounds. And it only cost us, let's see, $6.37. So not bad at all. I'm going to take the wrapper off. Place it right here, and as you can see, it's 2 in a pack, which is perfect. We're going to rinse it off with some cold water. We're going to add some salt to it. Rub the salt onto the pork just like this. Hit it with a little lemon. Perfect. And these are small pieces of meat, so of course it's not going to take us forever to wash it and clean it. We are using cold water, just in case you're wondering. Cold water, not warm, not hot, just cold water. I don't care if you have to let the water run for a bit until the water gets nice and cold. That's the only water that we need to use. Alright, we're going to discard the paper towels, and we're going to place our pork loins onto our cutting board. Now that you guys have already become acquainted with our pork loins, it's time for us to introduce the other ingredients that we're going to be using as well. We have some water. We also have kosher salt, apple cider vinegar, garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, smoked paprika, lemon juice, salt, ground black pepper. We also have some butter, roasted garlic and herb seasoning, and we have Italian seasoning. What's in the Italian seasoning? We have some dried thyme, dried parsley, dried basil, dried oregano, and dried rosemary. We have about 4 cups of lukewarm water. We're going to add our kosher salt, as well as apple cider vinegar and our brown sugar. We're going to go in there, we're going to give it a good mix. We want everything that we added to this water to dissolve properly. So we're going to keep stirring it. Stir it for at least a minute just to be sure. We're going to slide it on over to the side, and we're going to bring our Ziploc bag on over. And as you can see, I placed the Ziploc bag into a baking dish only because we need that security just in case the bag has a hole in it, therefore causing a messy situation to take place. All right, we are going to add our pork loins to the bag. Along with our brine. Perfect. And we're going to close it on up, and we're going to place it into our refrigerator for about 20 minutes. We're going to take it out in 20 minutes and no longer. To this bowl, we're going to add our onion powder, garlic powder, chili powder, smoked paprika, salt, ground black pepper, garlic and herb seasoning. We're going to take our Italian herbs and we're going to place it to the side. We don't need that just yet. We're going to combine all of the seasonings together. Mix it in there really good. And we're done. We're going to place it to the side until later. It's been about 20 minutes so far, and our pork loin has been sitting in the brine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it out of the bag, rinse it off with some cold water. Rinse it off really good. And I'm just going to place it into this baking dish for now. Using the paper towels, we're going to dry our pork loins really, really good because we're going to be searing it. And in order to sear it and get that perfect crust going on, you can't have any moisture left within the meat. We're going to take our olive oil and we're going to pour it onto the pork loin. And that's going to help our seasoning to stick to the loin even better. Turn it over just a bit. Take the oil that's on my hand and spread it on the back as well. Flip it on over. And we're going to take some of our dry seasoning mix and we're just going to sprinkle it onto the pork loin just like that. This is going to be so tasty. Take our hands and just pat it on in. This dry rub is going to really, when I say step the flavors up in this pork loin, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so tasty. Pat it on in. Make sure it's stuck and stuck and stick and stuck. We're going to flip it over. Boom, just like that. And we're going to do the same thing. Sprinkle that dry rub onto the pork loin. Toss it on. Toss it all over it. Pat it on in. And I know, like, not to go off topic, but in another video, someone asked, why is it important to wash the brine off? It's important to wash the brine off once the brine has already done what it's supposed to do. All the brine is really supposed to do is one or two things. Either help to make the meat a little bit tender or infuse extra flavor. Once that's done, we need to wash it off because we're using different acidic factors like lime, lemons, or sometimes oranges, or even vinegar. And it can change the texture of the meat if we don't wash it off in a timely fashion. That's why we don't keep the brine on longer than necessary. Now that our pork loins are nice and well seasoned, we're going to move on over to our stovetop and we're going to sear these bad boys up. We have a hot, smoky skillet and we are ready to go. We're going to add some oil. We're not going to add too much. Let's remember that we're working with pork. Yes, it's the loin. The loin is not as fatty, but still, nevertheless, we don't need a ton of oil. All right, that oil is up to temperature. It's nice and hot. We're going to place it into the skillet, just like this. And that sizzle right there is definitely the indicator that your meat is going to be searing perfectly. Let's check on our pork loin, and this is perfect. We're going to flip it over and allow it to sear on the other side as well. Perfect. It has that perfect crust going on, and this is definitely what we need. Our pork loins are perfectly seared. Check it out. Has that beautiful brown color. What we're going to do is we're going to place it onto our aluminum foil. Take out the second one as well. Take a good look. How beautiful is that right there? We're not done cooking it all the way through, however. But what we are going to do is we're going to take some of our Italian seasoning that we have reserved. And we're just going to place it on the top. I'm going to do the same for this one as well. We want to add all of those herbs because it's going to help to bring out even more flavor. All right, that's perfect. I'm going to take a small spoon and I'm just going to spoon on some lemon juice for that nice contrast of flavor. Everything is going to tie in perfectly. Take the remaining and just add it. We also have some salted butter. And we're just gonna place it right here onto the tenderloin. We're also going to hit it off with some fresh lemon juice. We're gonna take the edges of the foil paper. We're gonna bring it up like this. And we are gonna just basically wrap it, close it on up. Make sure the edges are sealed really tightly. You don't want any spills to take place in your oven. Trust me. You don't want that smoke alarm to go off. That's perfect. It's almost like when we're doing the seafood foil packet. It's somewhat of the same thing. Shift this over just a bit. All right, let's get it done. And of course, adding it to the foil and sealing it is going to lock in that moisture. It's going to keep the meat nice and tender, and it's going to lock in those flavors as well. We're going to place the pork tenderloin into our preheated 400-degree Fahrenheit oven, and depending on the thickness, we're going to allow it to bake for about 20 to 30 minutes or longer if necessary. After about 25 minutes, look at what we have here. Our pork tenderloin is nice and juicy, and not to mention absolutely tender. And this is what we need right here. Now, it took about 25 minutes for this pork tenderloin to get to this point. However, depending on the thickness of the meat, it may take a little longer. So if you have to bake it for 30 to 40 minutes just to get it to where it needs to be, make sure you don't touch that pork tenderloin. Leave it in that oven and allow it to do what it do. Once we take it out of the oven, we're going to allow it to sit for about 5 minutes to lock in all of those wonderful juices. And when we're done, we're going to slice into it, and we're going to take our juicy juice and we're going to literally baste our pork tenderloin with it and lock in those extra flavors. Now, when it comes down to serving, what are we going to serve it with? We're going to serve it with either white rice, brown rice, quinoa, pasta, or even your favorite salad. As always, I'm your girl Cooking with Tammy, and I will catch you guys in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.